Why does a girl stay with a boyfriend like him, you ask? Simone de Beauvoir hints that all of us girls have a bit of a masochistic side, but we also have a lesbian side, but more of that later. My honest answer was that he made me laugh, both at him and with him. You see, I enjoyed his company. I sort of let his sexism slide, although I set up a Facebook page called Things My Sexist Boyfriend Says. It was very popular and he had no idea I was doing it, and after a while it felt like I was cheating on him, so I shut it down. But as a result of shutting it down the page, I felt more isolated in my relationship with Louis. We had got to the stage in our relationship where I felt that his sexism was going unchecked and he was starting to take me for granted. I told myself that it was time he learnt what it felt like to walk a mile in my shoes. Then it hit me, why not get him to dress as a girl? I could just picture him now, dressed as a French maid, as he had often told me he wanted to see me dressed as one, tottering around in high heels trying to reassert his masculinity. I wanted him to feel the humiliation I felt when he behaved in a sexist manner or said something sexist, by forcing him to become or experience everything he thought it meant to be a woman. I would start by getting him to do the washing up, but I would do it subtly because I knew if I asked him flat out to do so he would refuse. So, I started by telling him that I was tired of doing all of the housework and him not lifting a finger. Did he think I was his maid? After me continuing to nag him in this manner for a few days, he eventually agreed to do the washing up. So I told him I was pleased that he was now doing more around the house, but I didn't want him ruining his clothes. Would you like to wear my apron? I offered him the floral pink apron that I wore when I prepared the meal or did the washing up, knowing that he would consider it too feminine and refuse to wear it. Very well, I said. But I can't have you ruining your clothes, so I will buy you an apron, but you will have to wear the apron when it arrives, as you have said you won't wear mine. Okay, you have a deal, just as long as you don't get me one like yours. I had no intention of getting him one like mine. His would be far more feminine. I planned, after all, to get him dressed as a French maid, and I had found just the apron I wanted on the internet. We were both working from home that day. There was a knock on the door. Louis took the delivery. Hey, they've made some sort of mistake, and written Louisa on the box. You'd written Louis and had you? There had been no mistake. Just as I was already trying to push him towards thinking of himself as the maid, by speaking of housework as a maid's job and then getting him to put on an apron and do it, so it was equally important that he started to think of himself as Louisa, not Louis. No, I didn't. I guess they made a mistake, I lied. Then he opened the box and saw his apron. Are you serious? Louis said incredulously as he saw what I had ordered. I guess they made another mistake. I laughed. So I don't have to wear it? Louis asked hopefully. You said that you would wear the apron when it arrived, I replied. But you said it wouldn't be like yours, he protested. It isn't, I responded. He looked at me and back at the apron. Be a man of your word and put it on, I urged him. I'll make it worth your while. Come on. It's just an apron. It's not like I am actually asking you to put on makeup, wear a wig and dress up like a French maid and do the housework. I got out my phone. Eventually he put it on and I took a picture of him. If you let me put this picture of you on Facebook, I will dress as a French maid for a day after every time it gets a like, I teased. I knew he wanted me to dress as a French maid, and that, whilst he would find it humiliating for our friends and family to see him in his apron, the thought of getting me to dress as a French maid would be too great a temptation for him. I watched as he thought about it. I think Louis naively believed we had hundreds of friends and I would end up dressed as a French maid for months. I had, however, worked out that although he wouldn't want to tell his friends about what I had posted, they were going to see him in it anyway, as I was going to tag him in it. They wouldn't, however, like the picture, they would haha it, and most of my friends would love it. After my friends had, as I anticipated it. Loved it and posted comments like "You would look so cute in a full outfit, Louis, and you need a makeover too," and his friends had teased him mercilessly about it. As I had also anticipated, I knew Louis would not be too keen on the picture having a much wider circulation, as he had worked out not many people would like the picture, which for Louis was the point. And that was fine by me. I didn't want the world to see him in his apron, just our friends and family. So as I had anticipated, the only people who gave Louis in his apron a like were Louis's mom and my mom and dad. Louis's dad would obviously not approve of his son wearing an apron, particularly this one, but then that was the point. Louis was his father's son. And Louis was going to be wearing a far more than just an apron soon. Louis's mom posted, "I always wanted a daughter," much to Louis's embarrassment, and my mom posted that she had always thought that Louis was a bit different. So my mom and dad and Louis's mom had ensured that I would spend 3 days dressed in just the sort of outfit that I wanted to see Louis dressed in. I set up an account with the lingerie store in Louis' name and gave him my measurements and let him order what he was calling my uniform. A few days later, it arrived. I saw that Louis had gone with something of a bondage theme, as he had bought me a wet look PVC French maid's outfit. Sure, it was a bit humiliating for a woman like me to put on an outfit like this, which screamed out I am a sex object, but I went upstairs and put it on. I reasoned that there was nothing that I was going to wear that Louis wasn't going to be wearing soon. There was a collar with it. I locked it around my neck and pulled the ring around the front. I noticed that the outfit was called the Mistress. I put on a pair of white fishnet stockings and picked up my whip. Louis might have thought that he lived with a submissive girlfriend, but it was time he found out what I was really like. I wondered if he was actually far more of a submissive beta male than he thought he was. I stood in front of him in my outfit. I could see Louis loved it and knew that he would be so distracted by my outfit that he would agree to almost anything if I played my cards right. The fact that he had chosen me an outfit called the Mistress hinted at something that I had long suspected. "Wow, you look stunning, Anne," Louis said. "I guess I am out having to do the washing up." "I don't remember any such arrangement," I replied menacingly. "Is there any chance you might dress like this more often?" Louis asked hopefully, ignoring the threat in my voice. "Like, say, for a month?" "Well, if you were to dress as a French maid too whilst you did the housework, Louisa, there might be," I replied. "No chance. There's no way I am dressing as a French maid," Louis replied. "Okay, how about you wear a tuxedo from that website and heels whilst you do the housework?" I replied. "And I bet that after one day doing the housework in a tuxedo, you'll be begging me to dress you as a French maid." "If I win, you have to do the housework in your uniform for a month," he said. "Okay, but if I win you do and another in yours." So I ordered him his tuxedo. Obviously, he hadn't realized it was a tuxedo Playboy bunny costume. He hadn't registered that the website was the lingerie website he had the account with, or that I had mentioned he would be wearing heels. That night, exploiting how I was dressed, I had him shave all of his body hair. Because he had yet to see his outfit, he had no idea why I had asked him to do this. The next day his outfit arrived before we had got out of bed. "I suppose you are going to say it was a mistake, but that somehow agreeing to wear a tuxedo means I have to wear this Playboy bunny costume?" he said. "What does it say on the box?" I sighed. "You tricked me," he protested when he saw it said tuxedo bunny costume. "I told you it was from a lingerie website and you were going to be wearing heels. What did you expect?" I replied. "Well, I guess I had better put it on if I want to see you wear your French maid's outfit again." He had either not seen or forgotten that I had another 2 days as a French maid. "You'll need a pair of knickers to stop your fishnet tights digging into your manhood," I said, passing him a silky black lace pair and a packet of fishnet tights I had bought him. "I didn't agree to wearing tights and kickers," Louis protested. "You're about to get dressed as a Playboy bunny and you're protesting about putting on a pair of tights and knickers? Besides, you'll be cold without them." I watched as Louis put on his first pair of knickers and thought for a moment about recording the first time. But then, I reasoned with myself, there were some parts of his body that should be kept just between him and me. Although I was starting to think of him as a her as she put on her bunny costume, collar and cuffs. You need some enhancements, I said, tucking some breast forms into the front of his outfit. Let's just put some glue on to stop them falling out. Louis stepped into his heels before looking at himself in the mirror. Look, Anne, I can't believe I am saying this, but as I am going to be dressed like this for the day, would you mind giving me a makeover? I hadn't expected that. Sure, I had bought a wig and makeup for Louis or Louisa as I was now thinking of her, but I was expecting to have to make some sort of other bet with her in order to get her to actually agree reluctantly to let me put makeup and a wig on her, but there she was asking me to do it. I went for a fairly natural look with the foundation and lipstick. The eyeshadow, eyeliner, and mascara though were more obvious. Then she let me fit her wig and put her ears on her head like a tiara. There was nothing masculine left about her appearance. Louis, it's time we found a new name for you. How about Louisa? Tell me, do you still feel like you are a man? I asked. Very funny. I am going to show you who wears the trousers, and Louisa replied. I don't think you can call what either of us are wearing trousers even if they do call your uniform a tuxedo, I said. But I hold the whip and I can't call you Louis whilst you are dressed like this, so why don't you stick with Louisa? We can't have people guessing you have a male body in an outfit like that, can we? Alright, you're right, you can call me Louisa. Let's have a game of keepy-youpies. If you win, you can go back to being a man. If I win, you have to come out clubbing with me wearing nothing more than you are wearing now. It was a bit too easy, really. Louisa should have thought it through. She was new to being a girl and wearing heels, and I had won keepy-youpie competitions. Do I have to go out wearing just this? Can't I put on an outfit like yours? A bet's a bet, Louisa. You lost fair and square. I want the world to see my Louisa in her Playboy bunny uniform, I said. You have a month of doing the housework in what you are wearing now and a month as a French maid, as you had told me you would not ask me to dress you as a French maid. I looked into Louisa's eyes as I pushed her back onto the bed. Man, she looked sexy. This was the first time she had dressed as a girl and I was on top of her in every sense. I am who I was meant to be now, so I am not having any more bets with you on, Louisa said. She was sitting in the garden in her Playboy bunny uniform. Louisa has set up a cleaning business as a French maid. It's called Le Maid. Lou is the French word for hire as well as a play on her name. I don't mind dressing as a French maid myself from time to time to help Louisa out. It is hard to think of Louisa as a man at all anymore. She rarely wears anything other than a Playboy bunny uniform to do the housework around the house or her French maid's outfit when we go out. I am starting to wonder if she ever wanted me to think of her as a man.